Hi guys, my name is Jessica King and I'm the owner of Still Point Counseling and Wellness here in Wilmington. And I'm also a therapist and a teacher of yoga, meditation, and mindfulness. And at Still Point, we all want to improve the wellness of the individuals and families that we work with by providing holistic and integrated care. And for me, that means seeing a variety of people of all ages and from all backgrounds, but who commonly are going through an adjustment period in life. So they may have experienced a trauma, or maybe they feel as if the stress of their life is just overwhelming. I really believe in healing centered engagement, which means I believe that you're resilient and you can transform from the challenges and stress of your life. And I believe that resiliency is the strongest when we can integrate a mindfulness into our lives. And so that's what I want to talk to you today about. But I'm going to back up a little bit and explain a little bit more about how stress works. Because we hear a lot about how stress impacts our health, but the reality is that stress can be healthy, an important part of our life. It can actually help improve our ability to handle challenges if we really learn how to manage it well. Stress is helpful in situations when we could be injured or hurt. It kind of signals our body to react in ways that keeps us safe. But stress also motivates us. If you didn't have that deadline pressing, you may not be motivated to work on your project. But the problem with stress is that when it doesn't go away, we're still impacted by it. Our bodies need to work in a way that's triggered by the stress response. And then, in the absence of that trigger, our bodies return to balance, or what we call homeostasis. In order to maintain long term health and wellness, that has to happen. So, in terms of chronic stress, our minds and bodies remain in the turned on phase of our stress response. So, this can lead to tense muscles, headaches, gut issues, hypertension, and lots of other things. So, we have to start looking at how can we combat these negative health effects. Well, as a holistic therapist, I know that the mind and body are not separate, and they operate as an integrated whole. Much of our distress is created in our mind by thinking in the past and in the future. So when we spend time in our mind thinking back to past interactions, things we said, or things other people did to us, that's creating distress. And also we spend time thinking in the future. We're making up stories about what might happen or trying to predict future interactions. In both of these situations, these things are not happening in the present, but our bodies don't know that. They react as if the stress is currently happening to us. These distressing thoughts create stress responses in our body that then influence our poor health outcomes. So, how do we change this? Well, I think mindfulness helps. Mindfulness is just paying attention to what is happening in this moment. The practice is continuously noticing when we're focused on the past or future areas of our thinking, and then shifting that focus. It's called a practice because we're never done doing it. We're just thinking beings having this human experience, and we're always going to float into past and future thinking. But the practice is in noticing it and then intentionally shifting it back to the present moment. There are some helpful practices that do help us get our bodies and our minds into the routine of thinking mindfully and in the present moment. One practice that I like to teach and do helps to slow down the neural processes in our mind, is to be able to start focusing on the pause in things. So, the very still point that happens in between different reactions. So, one way we can do that is through our breath, just bringing your attention to the pause that naturally happens between the phases of our breath. So, if you take a moment now and just intentionally take a slow breath in, notice the natural pause that happens at the top of that inhale, and then release it with a long breath out, noticing the natural pause at the bottom of that breath before allowing the next breath to begin. And just doing this for 3 to 5 rounds. This practice is slowing down your brain, slowing down your responses, and it's literally changing the neural pathways in your brain, allowing for the practice of mindfulness to just start creeping into your daily life, that you can slow down that process and be able to respond in situations rather than react, be able to find present moment thinking rather than reacting for past and future. So try this strategy. Try practicing it a couple times a day or a few times a week, and let me know what comes up for you. Stay tuned for more tips and tricks on how to use mindfulness for your wellness in the future. Thanks for being with me.